Saw dudes, throughout the weekend I recruited some anti-goon minions to steal the moon. I'm just kidding, I blew it up with fireworks. Today's build takes advantage of multiple souls that are available in the Prismatic Warlock arsenal and makes use of the newest raid exotic, Euphony. Thanks to Rock Egg for the RNG blessing. You are the GOAT. Today's main exotic is Getaway Artist, which allows us to eat our Arc Grenade to gain an Arc Soul and the Amplified buff. Everything considered, we have 4 pets, an Arc Soul, Solar Soul, Stasis Turret, and Threadlings. These minions will put in some crazy work. Let's get started. Let's cover the blueprint for the next Despicable Me movie. First up, you will need to cast your Rift, then eat your Arc Grenade, which will spawn an Arc Soul, Solar Soul, and Bleak Watcher turret. After that, fight enemies around the turret for crowd control, and collect orbs to regen energy and heal. During this time, use Euphony against chunkier adds to spawn Threadlings. When your abilities recharge, repeat the loop. Use your super against bosses, and use Euphony in a damage rotation. Rinse and repeat. Abilities are all over the place. The super that we're going to use is Needle Storm, since it plays into Euphony's exotic perk. The overall theme of the build grants buffs thanks to our Fragments, and because it fits well into damage rotations. The Rift I chose to use was Healing Rift. Empowering Rift isn't necessary, and we need the extra survivability. The melee ability I use most of the time is Arcane Needle, since it can unravel targets for extra AoE damage. However, I did dabble in Penumbral Blast for the instant lockdown. You might want to experiment. Finally, we have to use Storm Grenade, since it's the only option that will let us use Getaway Artist. Aspects this time around will be Bleak Watcher and Hellion. Bleak Watcher allows us to convert our grenade into a stasis turret. With Getaway Artist equipped, we can still eat our Arc Grenade for our Arc Soul. However, instead of allowing us to throw it, it will spawn the stasis turret right in front of us. Hellion makes class ability cast spawn a mini flame buddy for 20 seconds. Every 1.35 seconds, the mini arsonist will lob a scorching solar projectile towards an enemy within 40 meters. These projectiles hit surprisingly hard and apply 30 scorch stacks on hit in a 4-meter radius. This aspect alone does a ton of heavy lifting for the build and combines extremely well with our Arc Soul. The fragments we will be using for Cruise minions are Facet of Courage, Dawn, Hope, Protection, Purpose, and Ruin. Courage causes light abilities to deal 10% increased damage to enemies affected by stasis or strand debuffs. Dawn makes powered melee hits grant Radiant for 4 seconds, with kills giving allies the buff as well. Hope grants 60% additional base class regen rate while affected by an elemental buff. Protection grants 50% damage resist while within 15 meters of 3 enemies. Purpose causes orb pickups to grant us Woven Mail due to our equipped super. Finally, Facet of Ruin increases the damage of shattering enemies and crystals and the size of ignitions. Both effects are extremely useful for our Bleak Watcher turret and our Solar Soul. Time to go over the armor. On the helmet, I used Harmonic Siphon, Special Ammo Finder, and Font of Wisdom. For Getaway Artist, I used Heavy Handed, Font of Focus, and Focusing Strike. On the vest, there was Concussive Dampener, a variable resistance mod, and Harmonic Reserves. The boots had Recuperation and 2 copies of Stray and Weapon Surge. Lastly, the bond had Time Dilation, Reaper, and Distribution. You can use Bomber if you don't have enough space. Stat time. The most important stats are Resilience, Recovery, and Discipline. Resilience will keep you alive in harder content and is pretty much required if you want to lean into letting the minions do the heavy lifting. Recovery and Discipline are both equally important since they reduce Rift cooldown and Grenade cooldown respectively. Discipline can be capped at 70 since we are using a font mod. The rest of your points can be put into Strength or Intellect. If you are enjoying the video so far, consider subbing. It will motivate me to put more cultured memes into my videos, but otherwise, just thank you for sticking around. Now, let's cover the weapon options for today. In all loadouts, Euphony will be present, but the first loadout has it accompanied by No Hesitation and Cataphract GL3. Euphony is the newest raid exotic, and it's a dream to shoot. It's easy on the eyes and the ears, and if you didn't know, the word Euphony means pleasing or sweet sound. Hitting enemies 6 times within a short window spawns 3 Threadlings. Threadling hits grants a stack of the Spindle buff, which stacks up to 25 times. Additional hits from Threadlings refresh the duration. Each stack of Spindle grants 2% increased damage, up to 50% at the maximum stacks. This weapon is incredibly unique and pulls double duty as an add clear weapon and boss DPS option. You can easily incorporate it into a damage rotation, and you probably should since it doesn't have a weak point. Bungie was cooking with this one. No Hesitation is the fan favorite solar auto rifle at the moment, since it's a weapon that can support teammates. Dealing damage fills up a meter below the reticle, and hip firing at allies releases Healing Seekers, and healing them grants a gun bonus damage. There are plenty of good rolls that are worth crafting, but for this video, I would suggest going for Demolitionist plus Frenzy, Circle of Life, or Incandescent. All of these rolls are great for all content. The most important part of this roll is Demolitionist because it makes Arc Soul upkeep much easier. Not a fan of healing your minions? I mean teammates? Well, you have options like Nullify, the 2-burst pulse rifle from Salvation's Edge. This gun might just be an exotic wearing a mask. It hits hard in PvE and comes with a plethora of perks that just fit the build. Demo in the 3rd column is nice but not required since you have other options like Heal Clip or Rapid Hit. Any of those options are amazing. The fourth column comes with the new perk, Chaos Reshaped, which acts like Frenzy and Heal Clip in one. Essentially, staying in combat for an extended time increases damage and provides healing periodically. It's a free 20% to 35% damage buff, which pairs nicely with our build choice. Cataphract GL3 is a great strand grenade launcher and is a staple for damage rotations, something you might want to lean into given the fact that we are using Euphony. A solid role to chase for a damage rotation would be Quick Launch, Spike Grenades, Auto-Loading Holster, and Bait and Switch. This will take care of most bosses and champions with very little trouble. If you want less stress, you can swap out Bait and Switch for Explosive Light. If you want to stick to laser tag, like Euphony, go try out Scintillation. At this point, it's the best linear fusion rifle in the game. The role I would choose for now is Arrowhead Break, Enhanced Battery, Rewind Rounds, and Bait and Switch. This gun comes with Vice Stinger as its origin trait, which can reload the gun at any point during its 3-round burst. With Rewind Rounds, you will rarely reload, meaning you just need to refresh BNS with your other 2 weapons. My final heavy weapon recommendation is Pro Memoria, the strand machine gun from the Pale Heart. While this gun won't be pulling insane DPS numbers, it will help you ad clear with your little buddies like a real villain. There's a ton of perk combos, so let's just get down to a solid one. Reconstruction plus Target Lock. You can DPS with this role, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. This role keeps the gun ready at all times. An alternative that can deal with champions and many bosses on top of adds is Demo plus Bait and Switch. It's easy to use, a jack of all trades, and plays into the build nicely. Since the gun's primary role is ad clear, it will produce a ton of grenade energy. Hatchling plus Frenzy is a somewhat meme role, but it still contributes to Euphony's damage bonus, providing another way to get it ramped up. It's not optimal in any content, but it's a fun option to consider. And that, my friends, is how we will steal the moon. I hope you enjoyed the build because I know I did. The rest of the video is some legendary campaign footage. Let me know how it goes, and as always, thank you for watching and happy farming. Stay safe.